Welcome to This Explainer. You know, if you're learning English, you've probably figured out that while picking up new vocabulary is actually pretty fun, dealing with the underlying mechanics, well, that can feel like a literal boss battle. Today, we're giving you the ultimate English grammar survival guide. We are going to completely conquer the biggest, most frustrating roadblocks in everyday spoken English.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Out of all the errors people make in extended English conversations, there is one that ranks as the absolute, undisputed #1 highest frequency mistake. Seriously, it outpaces vocabulary slips, it outpaces pronunciation. It's the misuse or just the complete dropping of English articles. A, an, the, or nothing at all. They're such tiny words, but man, they cause massive headaches.
And if you struggle with this, you are absolutely not alone. In fact, if your native language is Russian or a similar language with a case system, you have zero article system to map English onto. Linguists actually call this zero article transfer. Picture an empty file folder in your brain. You literally don't have a folder for articles simply because your native language never needed one. It's perfectly natural to find this incredibly frustrating. But today, we're building that mental file folder for you from scratch.
So here's our rapid-fire survival agenda for today's explainer. First up, the article masterclass. Then we'll tackle the preposition matrix, telling stories in the past, plurals and pointers, and wrap up with everyday vocabulary. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The Article Masterclass. 3 simple questions. English nouns basically almost always demand something in front of them, even when your native language sits perfectly empty. But here's the really good news. You do not need to memorize 100 complex rules. You just need a simple 3-question decision tree to completely solve your article anxiety. Question number 1. Ask yourself, is this the very first time I'm mentioning this thing? And are there many others exactly like it in the world? If the answer is yes, you use a or an. For example, if you say, I've just started a new game, you're talking about one game out of millions of games that exist. It's brand new to the listener, and it's one of many. Simple as that.
Moving on to question number 2. Is the thing specific, totally unique, or does the listener already know which one you're talking about? If yes, lock in the. Think about the phrase, the soundtrack of that film. This brilliantly illustrates the power of the. You aren't talking about just any music in the world. You're pointing directly to one specific, known soundtrack of one specific film.
Finally, question number 3. Am I talking about something in general, or is it a plural or uncountable idea? If you're just speaking generally, you drop the article completely. Zero article. Like if you say, he doesn't enjoy horror games, you're talking about the entire genre of horror games in general, not specific ones. Seriously, ask yourself these 3 questions, and your article accuracy is going to instantly skyrocket.
Section 2. The Preposition Matrix, Untangling Time and Place.
These tiny little words, at, in, on, by, they cause absolute chaos. And that's usually because learners try to directly translate a single preposition from their native language, like overgeneralizing the Russian na or v to fit literally every English scenario. It just doesn't work. Instead, we need to map these out logically. Think of at as a laser pointer. It points to specific clock times or specific places like at work, plus the fixed British expression at the weekend. Now, on is your calendar word. It's strictly for days and dates, like on Friday or on the 5th of May. In is for those big containers of time. We're talking months, years, seasons, like in winter or in 2020. And lastly, by is your alarm bell. It means a strict deadline. By Friday means before or on Friday, but absolutely no later.
Section 3. Telling stories in the past. Tense consistency.
When you're telling a story about something that already happened, every single verb needs to stay in the past simple. But here's what always seems to happen. It's so incredibly easy to start strong, saying, I watched, and then suddenly, right in the middle of your excitement, you accidentally slip into the present tense, saying something like, and she has liked it. To fix this, you really need to set your time frame before you speak. When you make a negative statement or ask a question in the past, you absolutely must use did or didn't, not do or don't. And here's the golden rule. Think of did as a giant magnet. It literally steals the past tense away from the main verb. So it is she didn't finish it. It's never she doesn't finish it, and it is certainly never she didn't finish. The main verb just stays in its pure base form.
Now, let's take a quick look at the eternal battle, past simple versus present perfect. Past simple is for a totally finished time period, like yesterday. Present perfect is for an unfinished time period, or when only the result matters right now, like I've lost my headphones, meaning the result is I don't have them on my head right now. But I've got an amazing insider secret for you. In everyday spoken English, native speakers very often just use the past simple anyway, even when the present perfect might technically be more correct. So, if you're ever caught in a conversation and you feel unsure, past simple is always your safer, highly acceptable choice.
Let's move to section 4 and see how this builds. Plurals and pointers, tricky nouns and demonstratives.
Sometimes English just tries to trick you. You'll encounter words that look singular, or maybe they just represent one physical object in your native language, but in English, they are stubbornly plural. Take everyday items like guidelines, instructions, headphones, glasses, clothes, or stairs. They end in S, and they demand a plural verb. It is the guidelines are strict, absolutely never the guidelines is strict. Here's a fantastic, quick little test you can do right in your head. Try to put the number 1 in front of it. Can you easily say 1 guideline S? No way. That means the noun is permanently plural and will never, ever take is, was, or has.
And while we're on the subject of pointing things out, let's demystify demonstratives really quickly. It is all about physical space. This and these are for things close to you, things you can literally reach out and touch right now. This is singular, these is plural. That and those are for things further away, totally out of your physical reach. That is one thing over there. Those are many things over there. It's purely about distance.
We've made it to the final section. Section 5, Vocabulary Corner, Sounding Natural.
A lot of errors aren't actually bad grammar at all. They're direct translations, what linguists call calques from your native language that just make you sound a little bit robotic in English. Let's fix that and make you sound completely natural. Take the word acquaintance. Technically, yes, the dictionary says this means a person you know but not very well. But in everyday casual speech, native speakers almost never use this word. It just sounds extremely formal. Instead, we'll just say someone I know or a guy I know. It flows so much better in a casual chat.
And this brilliantly illustrates another subtle trap: alone versus lonely. So many learners treat these as exact synonyms, but they have completely different weights. Alone or on my own is just a neutral, physical state. It literally just means there are no other humans in the room. But lonely? Lonely means you are alone and you are deeply sad about it. It carries a heavy emotional weight. So, be careful which one you choose.
Finally, let's look at a classic translation trap. In Russian, the phrase "dat slovo" literally translates to give word. But if you just say "I give word" in English, it sounds super unnatural. The natural English collocation you're actually looking for is simply the verb to promise, or the phrase to give my word. Notice that my word, not just word.
And there you have it, your ultimate survival guide. You've now got the tools to completely untangle prepositions, dodge those tricky plurals, and sound perfectly natural. But remember, knowledge is only power if you actually use it. So, here's my challenge to you before we wrap up. Think of a story about a game you just played, a show you watched, or an anime you just finished. Can you sit down right now and describe it out loud, proving you've completely mastered the ultimate boss battle of English articles and past tense verbs? Try it out. Your next conversation literally depends on it. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.